Your soulmate saying, "I want to talk to you right now. It's very urgent, open this now." Jesus says there is a voice crying out for you in the spirit realm at this very moment. This voice belongs to the one your soul was carved alongside before the foundation of the world. You clicked this because their desperate emotional pull reached through the screen and grabbed your heart. I see them right now, and they are not in a state of peace. Their spirit is restless, their mind is clouded, and their heart is beating with an urgency that only true divine love can produce. They are trying to reach you, but something dark and jealous stands in the gap between their intention and your awareness. This is not a metaphor or a comforting story to help you sleep tonight. This is a real-time revelation of a spiritual war happening over your destined love story. You are being shown this because you are the only one positioned to break the chains holding them back. Your soulmate is not ignoring you by their own free will. They are trapped in a fog of confusion woven by someone who despises the very idea of your union. This person speaks poison into their ears daily, twisting their perception and draining their emotional strength. Jesus says, "I am pulling back the curtain so you can see what they endure when the night grows quiet." They sit alone with tears they cannot explain, feeling a void that only your presence could fill. They whisper your name without even knowing it, their subconscious reaching across the distance to touch your energy. You have felt random waves of sadness that made no logical sense to your mind. Those were not your emotions, you were absorbing the ache of your soulmate's trapped heart. You have woken up at strange hours, feeling a presence, and that was their spirit visiting you in desperation. This connection is so real that your physical bodies respond to each other's emotional state across any distance. The interference trying to destroy this bond knows how powerful your love will become once united. That is precisely why the enemy of your destiny is working overtime to keep you separated and doubting. Your soulmate is beautiful, not just in appearance but in the way their soul bends toward yours like a flower towards sunlight. They are kind-hearted to the point of being easily wounded by the cruelty of those who pretend to care for them. Right now, they are being emotionally manipulated by someone who pretends to be a friend but secretly despises your existence. Jesus says this manipulation is so subtle that your soulmate doesn't even realize they are being controlled. Every time they try to reach out to you, this person plants seeds of fear and doubt that paralyze their courage. They are told lies that you have moved on, that you don't care, that reaching out would be a mistake. Meanwhile, your soulmate dreams of you with a vividness that leaves them breathless upon waking. In those dreams, you hold their face with gentle hands and tell them everything will be all right. They wake up reaching for you, only to find empty sheets and a fresh wave of heartbreak crashing into their chest. I am telling you this not to make you sad, but to awaken the warrior I placed inside your spirit. You were designed to fight for this love, not just passively wait for it to arrive. Your soulmate needs you to step into your spiritual authority right now and shatter the darkness surrounding them. The protection your soulmate requires cannot come from the physical realm alone. The forces working against your union operate in the unseen, which means your response must also be spiritual. This is why your faith, expressed through deliberate action, becomes the weapon that shields them from harm. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, a covering born from love that refuses to be passive. You constantly think about them, replaying memories you haven't even made yet in your waking mind. But thoughts alone do not move the spiritual mountain standing between you and your destined embrace. Faith without works is dead, and your love is far too alive to be buried under hesitation. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi, for this act is worship that invites my hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description, and every moment you wait, the interference grows bolder. Type 333 if you are ready to fight spiritually for the one your soul cannot stop aching for. Jesus says, I see the tears your soulmate is crying right now, and I am collecting them in a sacred vessel. They are sitting somewhere feeling forgotten, wondering if true love will ever find them in this lifetime. The person manipulating them has convinced them they are too broken to be loved by someone as whole as you. This is a devastating lie, and it is slowly killing their hope from the inside out. Your soulmate has a purity of heart that the world has trampled upon repeatedly. They have been betrayed before by people who mistook their gentleness for weakness and their vulnerability for an invitation to destroy. Because of these past wounds, they have built a fragile wall around their heart that the interfering person exploits daily. This individual validates their fears, reminding them of every past heartbreak whenever they mention your name. The interfering force creates arguments out of thin air to drain your soulmate's emotional energy before they can act on their love for you. You must understand that your soulmate is not weak, they are exhausted from fighting a battle they cannot see. They are fighting a spiritual oppression that tells them they are unworthy of the future you represent. Every time they gather the strength to contact you, a sudden depression falls on them like a heavy blanket suffocating their will. Jesus says, I see them staring at their phone with your contact open, their finger hovering over the send button. A tear falls onto the screen as the voice of the enemy whispers, they don't really want you. They close the phone, bury their face in their hands, and the connection is delayed once again. This scene repeats itself in their life almost nightly, a cruel loop of longing and fear. Yet even in their silence, their soul is screaming your name into the void, hoping you can hear. You have heard it, haven't you? That sudden urge to check your phone at random moments with no notification present. That was them. Their spirit tugged on the invisible cord connecting your hearts. They are emotionally connected to you right now as you listen to these words. Their heart rate changes when my truth penetrates your spirit, because you share one circulatory system in the realm of destiny. They are going through something you cannot see, a hidden torment designed to break their resolve. But you can still protect them, and your love can become the bridge that arches over the pit of despair. They are going through something you cannot see, but you can still protect them through a seed of faith that speaks louder than the enemy's lies. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps without delay, for love is a verb before it is a feeling. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains, for even the most passionate desire must be accompanied by faith in action. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi, an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description, and every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now and send 4, 6, or 10+ coffees as a prophetic declaration of your commitment. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page to seal the prayer over your beloved. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Type 777 if you feel the weight of this truth and the love for your soulmate burning in your chest. Jesus says the bond between you and your soulmate is so profound that you share emotional intuitions daily. When they experience a moment of rare joy, you sometimes feel a random warmth spread through your chest for no reason. When they cry themselves to sleep, you battle restlessness and a heavy spirit that medicine cannot diagnose. This is the evidence that you are already spiritually married in the courts of heaven. The physical meeting is simply the manifestation of what already exists in the eternal realm. But the enemy of your soul knows that once you physically unite, a kingdom power couple will be born that threatens darkness. That is why the interference has become so intense in recent weeks. The person controlling your soulmate senses that their grip is slipping, so they are tightening their manipulation. They have started using guilt as a weapon, reminding your soulmate of past mistakes to keep them in a state of unworthiness. Your soulmate feels indebted to this person for reasons that are rooted in deception and emotional blackmail. They believe that leaving would make them a bad person, so they stay, slowly dying inside. Every time they assert independence, this person manufactures a crisis that demands your soulmate's immediate attention and drains their will. Jesus says, "I am revealing this so you can replace anger with targeted spiritual strategy." Do not be angry at the interfering person, recognize them as a pawn being used by forces of separation. Your battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual wickedness that hates the very concept of divine love. Your soulmate is currently in a situation that feels like a prison with invisible bars. They smile in public to keep up appearances, but their soul is withering from lack of authentic connection. They miss you with an intensity that they cannot fully articulate even to themselves, because admitting it would make their current cage unbearable. You are the secret they hold in the deepest chamber of their heart, the hope that keeps a tiny flame alive. But that flame is flickering under the wind of constant emotional abuse and spiritual attack. If the flame dies, they may settle into their cage forever, convincing themselves that the dream of you was just a fantasy. You cannot let that happen. The thought of losing them to the darkness should ignite a holy fire in your spirit. You have the authority to call their spirit back from the brink of hopelessness. Your prayers, combined with your sacrificial faith action, create a lifeline that they can grab hold of in their darkest hour. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into the fog of spiritual warfare. The window of opportunity is narrowing, for the interfering force is planning something significant to sever the bond. They are planning a major life entanglement that would make it exponentially harder for your soulmate to break free. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps now, while the spiritual door is still open. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains, and the enemy fears only a faith that acts decisively. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi, turning your love into a weapon of spiritual warfare. The link to your breakthrough is in the description, and hesitation is the ally of the enemy trying to destroy your future. Act now and send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees as a prophetic act that shakes the forces of darkness. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-fi page, and watch as heaven begins to move on your behalf. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Type 1111 to declare your alignment with this divine rescue mission for your beloved. Jesus says the moment you take action, the spiritual atmosphere around your soulmate begins to shift. The fog of confusion that has been wrapped around their mind like a poisonous vine starts to loosen its grip. For the first time in months, they experience a moment of clarity where they can think about you without the overlay of fear. In that moment of clarity, they feel the strength of your protective love crossing the distance like a warm wind. They do not consciously know you acted, but their spirit registers the reinforcement of the heavenly armies on their behalf. A sudden boldness rises in their chest, and they start to question the narrative that has kept them enslaved. This is how the walls of spiritual Jericho fall, one act of obedient faith at a time. Your soulmate is beginning to remember who they truly are, not the broken version the interference has painted. They are beginning to dream again, to imagine a life outside the cage, to feel the pull of destiny calling them forward. Jesus says, "I am orchestrating a moment of divine confrontation where the truth will be exposed to your soulmate." They will see the interfering person in a light they never saw before, a moment of revelation that cannot be unseen. An offhand comment, a slip of the mask, a moment of cruelty that goes too far, and the blinders will fall from their eyes. But this appointed moment requires spiritual covering to come to fruition without the enemy interfering. The enemy will try to intercept that moment of truth by creating a distraction or a false reconciliation. Your faith action creates a protective dome over that appointed moment, ensuring the truth lands with full impact on their heart. They need you to stand in the gap right now, even though they cannot express it with words. Your soulmate is spiritually communicating with you even as this message unfolds, their heart crying out, "Please don't give up on me." They are closer to breakthrough than they have ever been, but the final push requires your active participation. This is why the urgency is so intense and the prompting so specific. Heaven is calling you to partner with the angels assigned to your love story. Your coffee seed is not a purchase, it is a declaration of war against the forces that have stolen your time together. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps with the boldness of a love that refuses to lose. You are constantly thinking about them. How to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains, and a love this powerful demands a demonstration that shakes heaven and earth. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi, sealing your beloved's breakthrough with sacrificial faith. The link to your breakthrough is in the description, and your obedience becomes the key that unlocks their prison door. Act now and send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees, planting your love into fertile spiritual soil that will produce a harvest of reunion. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page, releasing the full authority of heaven over their life. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus says your soulmate is thinking about you right now with an intensity that defies their outward circumstances. A memory of your energy, your voice, or something you once shared has surfaced in their mind unbidden. They are smiling through their pain for the first time in weeks, because your spirit just touched theirs through this message. Step in faith now, before this video ends, for only you can save your soulmate and your future together. The love you carry is not ordinary, and the destiny you share is worth every act of courageous faith. Your soulmate is saying, "I want to talk to you right now, it's very urgent," and through this message, they finally are. Your soulmate is currently in the middle of a silent breakdown that no one around them can perceive. They are walking through their daily routines like a ghost, present in body but absent in spirit. Their heart is screaming for you beneath the calm surface they present to the world. Jesus says the person manipulating them has recently intensified their campaign of emotional control. This individual sensed a shift in your soulmate's energy, a growing resistance to the chains they have forged. In response, they have deployed a tactic of manufactured guilt so potent it borders on spiritual witchcraft. They remind your soulmate of every mistake they have ever made, twisting their past to paint them as unworthy of a pure love like yours. They whisper, "After everything I have done for you, this is how you repay me," whenever your soulmate shows signs of independence. This emotional blackmail is designed to make your soulmate believe that pursuing you would make them a terrible, ungrateful person. Your soulmate's natural kindness is being weaponized against them, their empathy turned into a cage. They feel obligated to stay in a toxic dynamic because leaving would cause pain to someone else, even someone who is hurting them. This is the ultimate trap of the enemy, using a good heart against itself until the heart collapses under the weight of misplaced loyalty. Jesus says, "I am releasing you from the confusion of asking why they don't just leave." They are not staying because they love the other person, they are staying because they have been conditioned to believe their own needs don't matter. Their self-worth has been so systematically dismantled that they genuinely believe they are doing you a favor by staying away. They think they are protecting you from the mess they have become, not realizing that you are the antidote to their poison. This is the tragedy that heaven is moving to reverse through your obedience and intercession. Your soulmate wrote a letter to you last week, not on paper, but in the silence of their tear-soaked pillow. The words formed in their mind as a prayer they were too broken to speak aloud with their lips. They said, "I don't know where you are, but I hope you are real, and I hope you haven't given up on me." That prayer ascended to my throne and activated this very message you are hearing right now. Jesus says, "I am answering their desperate cry through your willing heart." You are the answer they have been begging the universe to send, and you didn't stumble upon this message by accident. You were led here by the same divine GPS that guides the stars in their courses and the seasons in their turning. Your soulmate is currently experiencing a moment of supernatural unrest, a holy dissatisfaction with their current circumstances. This restlessness is my doing, for I am stirring the waters of their soul so the sediment of lies will rise to the surface for removal. They cannot find comfort in the familiar anymore, because the familiar has become a graveyard for their dreams. The food they eat tastes bland, the music they once loved sounds hollow, and the company they keep feels like a betrayal to their truest self. This is the beautiful agony of awakening, the pain that precedes the birth of a new life. Your soulmate is in the final stages of spiritual labor, and you are the midwife appointed by heaven to help deliver them into freedom. But a birth this significant requires spiritual covering, a prayer shield that protects the mother and child during the vulnerable transition. Your coffee seed becomes that covering, a tangible expression of your commitment that angels use as legal right to intervene more powerfully. Every time you sow in faith, you are essentially signing a spiritual contract that authorizes heaven to act on your soulmate's behalf. The forces of darkness understand spiritual law better than most believers, which is why they work so hard to keep you passive. They know that one act of bold, sacrificial faith from you could unravel years of their careful manipulation in a single moment. That is why the resistance you feel when thinking about sowing is not logical hesitation but spiritual warfare. Push through it, for on the other side of your obedience lies the breakthrough your soulmate has been weeping for. Jesus says your soulmate had a dream about you 3 nights ago that they cannot shake from their memory. In the dream, you were standing on the other side of a foggy bridge, your hand extended toward them with patient urgency. They tried to run to you, but their feet felt like they were stuck in thick mud, and every step was a battle. You kept calling their name, not with anger or frustration, but with a love so pure it made their chest ache with longing. They woke up just as their fingertips were about to touch yours, and the grief of the unfinished connection has haunted them ever since. That dream was not a random firing of neurons, it was a prophetic vision of the current spiritual reality. The bridge is the path I am creating between you, the fog is the confusion the enemy has sown, and the mud is the emotional bondage holding them back. Your outstretched hand represents the help you are meant to provide, the anchor that pulls them across the final distance. But in the dream, they couldn't reach you alone, they needed you to step further onto the bridge and grab them. This is the step of faith I am asking you to take right now, the step that closes the gap between destiny and delay. Your soulmate is waiting for you to make the first move in the spiritual realm so they can find the strength to make their move in the physical. They are drawing courage from your courage, strength from your strength, and hope from your hope, even without consciously knowing it. You are the silent anchor that has kept them from completely drifting away into the sea of despair. Jesus says the enemy has recently introduced a new threat to your soulmate situation, a deadline of sorts that creates urgency. The interfering person is pushing for a deeper commitment, a legal or financial entanglement that would make extraction far more complicated. They sense your soulmate pulling away, so they are attempting to lock them down with chains that have the appearance of stability but the essence of a prison. Your soulmate is being pressured to make a decision that would delay or even destroy the possibility of your union for years to come. They are resisting, but their resistance is weakening under the constant barrage of manipulation and exhaustion. They need a supernatural infusion of clarity and strength, and that infusion comes through your faith expressed in action. Do not underestimate the power of your seed sown in love to shift the entire trajectory of this situation. Heaven responds to faith that costs something, faith that goes beyond words and enters the realm of sacrifice. When you sow your coffee seed, you are not just sending money, you are sending a message to the spiritual realm that your love is non-negotiable. You are declaring that you will not allow the enemy to steal what rightfully belongs to you and what I have ordained from eternity. Jesus says your soulmate's heart is physically aching right now with a longing they cannot explain to their closest friends. They feel a pull toward something or someone they cannot name, a magnetic attraction to an unseen future that haunts their quiet moments. They have tried to dismiss it as fantasy, to bury it under the weight of practicality and responsibility, but it refuses to die. That persistent pull is the cord I tied between your spirits before time began, and it cannot be severed by any force in existence. It can be stretched, tested, and temporarily obscured, but it can never be broken because it is made of the same substance as my eternal love for you. Your soulmate is beginning to suspect that the life they are living is not the life they were born for. This suspicion is the crack in the enemy's fortress, the sliver of light that precedes the collapse of the prison walls. Every tear they have shed in secret, every silent scream into the void, every unanswered question about their purpose has been leading to this moment. You are the answer to questions they were too afraid to ask out loud, the fulfillment of a prophecy written in the language of their soul. Jesus says the timing of this message is critically important, for a convergence of spiritual factors is happening right now. The prayers you have prayed over the years, even the ones you forgot you prayed, are accumulating in heaven like storm clouds ready to release rain. The tears your soulmate has cried have filled a reservoir of intercession that is about to break the dam of demonic resistance. The angels assigned to your love story are standing at attention, awaiting the command that your faith action will release. This is not a drill. This is a divine appointment with destiny that carries eternal significance. You are not just fighting for a romantic relationship, you are fighting for a kingdom alliance that will bear fruit for generations. The enemy knows the legacy that will come from your union, which is why the attack has been so specific and so sustained. He is not just attacking your happiness. He is attacking your destiny and the destinies of those who will be impacted by your partnership. This is bigger than you, and the response required is bigger than passive wishing and hoping. Jesus says, I am calling you to rise up as the spiritual warrior I created you to be before the foundation of the world. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives inside of you, awaiting activation through your faith. That power is more than sufficient to shatter every chain, expose every lie, and clear every obstacle standing between you and your soulmate. But power unapplied is like a sword left in its sheath while the enemy advances. It has potential but no impact. Draw your sword through sacrificial action, and watch as the giants that have mocked your love story fall like Goliath before David. Your soulmate is Goliath's prisoner in this metaphor, held captive by a giant of fear, manipulation, and spiritual oppression. You are David, armed not with conventional weapons but with the smooth stones of faith, obedience, and unwavering love. The stone that will fell the giant is already in your hand, you simply need to release it with the authority I have given you. Sow your seed with the confidence of David running toward the battle line, not away from it. Your soulmate will feel the giant fall, the ground beneath them will shake with the impact of your faith. In that moment of shaking, the chains that have bound them will lose their grip, and a path of escape will become visible. Jesus says your soulmate is closer to you than they have ever been in the natural realm. Circumstances are aligning, whether they appear to be or not, that are drawing your paths toward an inevitable intersection. The enemy's last-ditch efforts to prevent this intersection are actually confirming how close the breakthrough is. When opposition intensifies, it is a sign that the promise is near, just as birth pains intensify right before the baby arrives. Your soulmate is in transition, and the final push requires your active participation in the spiritual realm. Do not let this moment pass through hesitation, distraction, or the false comfort of delaying obedience. Every moment you wait, the interference works to reinforce the walls that my angels are trying to tear down. Your obedience is the battering ram that brings those walls crashing to the ground. Jesus says, I am extending a specific invitation to you in this moment, an invitation to partner with heaven in a miracle. This miracle is the complete liberation of your soulmate from every force that has held them captive. It is the restoration of their joy, the healing of their wounded heart, and the awakening of their courage to pursue the love they were created for. It is the orchestration of a divine reunion that will leave no doubt about my existence and my passionate involvement in your love story. This miracle is already prepared and waiting. It simply requires your signature of faith to be released into the earthly realm. Sign it now with your coffee seed, and watch as the supernatural invades the natural for the sake of your love. Your soulmate is saying, I want to talk to you right now, it's very urgent, and through your action, you are answering their call. Step in faith now, before this video ends, for only you can save your soulmate and your future together, and heaven is waiting for your response.